What's up, Doyle? This is our article analysis report. Here it goes.
What question did the author either explicitly ask or else implicitly write the article to answer?
There was two authors in our Disney-based article. The first was Ruth Smith and the second was Eric Eisenberg. They both aspired to discover the underlying cause beneath the 22-day strike amid the unionized Disneyland employees and their management in the year of 1984.
What method did the author use to collect evidence that might answer the question?
The authors Smith and Eisenberg aimed to illuminate the incompatibility between the worldviews of the employees and their managers through the use of new interpretive methodology and a root metaphor analysis. In August of 1985, 35 structured interviews were held with hourly employees. Interviews were conducted in three parts. In the second and most vital phase of the interview, employees were given a list of metaphors which the management had used previously in interviews and in documents to describe the park, and the employees were asked to identify those terms which currently seem to be most descriptive of the park. All of the 35 interviews were audio taped and later transcribed. The two most popular metaphors proved to be 1. Disneyland is drama, and 2. Disneyland is family.
When the evidence was assembled, what answer did it support?
Well, the strike at Disneyland became traceable to a conflict over rival, deep-seated, second-order issues represented here as competing root metaphors.
What are those root metaphors, Rob?
Well, I'm glad you asked. The first was Disneyland is drama. Now, they laid this out. They called the parking lot the outer lobby. The ticket booths were regarded as the theater's box office. There's 16-foot walls outside of Disneyland. They're called the theater walls. Dress codes were known as costuming. Disneyland itself was designed as a show. They called it the happiest place on earth. It was known as an escape from the real world, where paying customers are all guests and every employee plays the role of a host or a hostess. You see, Walt Disney died in 1966. 14 years later, in 1980, the employees began to cast themselves as the sole caretakers of Disney's legacy. They perceived management's actions as departing from Disney's original vision, and they complained bitterly. Ironically, the employees' impulse to preserve Disney's founding vision resulted in a revised interpretation that even Walt Disney himself might not have fully endorsed. This interpretation placed primary emphasis on the Disney employees as family, and it was this protection and preservation of the interpretation that led ultimately to the conflict with the management and the strike in 1984.
What's the second root metaphor?
The other root metaphor was that employees are family. One employer hit it on the nose when he said, "We're family offering family entertainment. It's as though we're inviting guests into our home to entertain them." The years leading to the 1984 strike were characterized by a shift in emphasis in root metaphors, from drama to family. In the 1980s, Disneyland was having serious financial problems, and management began to make cuts everywhere, which forced the employees to view themselves as less than family. Resentment of management decisions ran high and caused the 22-day strike by unions that hadn't struck for over 29 years. During this period, striking employees held a candlelight vigil to honor the memory of Disney and his philosophy. They fabricated bumper stickers reading, "Disneyland, Walt's dying dream." Employees claimed that management acted unfairly. This was not the way Walt would treat his family. As you could see in the picture we have included, the striking employees were arrested and taken into custody against their own will. In conclusion, for the striking employees, the blatant conflict was over economics, but the deeper second-order issue was that their interpretation of Disney's philosophy, with family as the root metaphor, was in serious danger of extinction. Now, Brittany, let me ask you a couple questions.
All right.
What from this article do we know about organizational communication that we did not know before?
We now know about the concept of root metaphors and how they can be used to analyze the functioning and communicating within organizational settings.
What exactly is a root metaphor?
A root metaphor is a metaphor used as a foundation for all other metaphors that describe an organization and what it's founded on.
And what were the two root metaphors for this article?
Just all the cool parts.
Disneyland is family and Disneyland is drama.
Why does this matter?
In this article, the incorporation of root metaphors was extremely beneficial and enlightening, as it allowed observers to better understand the gradual deterioration of the organizational setup of Disneyland. Using the context of both the family and drama root metaphors, we can catch a glimpse of the source of the employees' frustration over the economic shifts in operation of the park. The root metaphors paint a picture of the behind-the-scenes environment of the park and the overarching ideals that the park was founded on.
That's nice. So where, if anywhere, does this information fit in with the topics we've covered in class, in the Miller or the Arbinger texts?
Well, both parties are acting in the box as described in the Arbinger text. Neither side viewed the other as actual persons with legitimate needs, but rather mere objects that they were trying to coerce into sharing their opinion and perspective on the matter. The managers held the financial state of the park in highest esteem, which conflicted with the employees, whose priority was maintaining the family-like feel that Walt had originally intended. Each side then proceeded to try and convince the others that their end goal was in their best interest, while in reality they were viewing the other parties as objects that needed to shift their mindset.
Thank you very much. This is Robert Bell, my co-host.
Brittany Styling.
See you next time on Beacon Learning.